Yo, 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 what's up, science class fam? It's your boy Nickel here, coming at it with some science notebook pages. So, the way we do this is I start the video with a description of what to expect on this science notebook page. So you can see here on my page, I've titled it with the 3 tenets of cells. And so you should do that right now. Title your page, the 3 tenets of cells. But you can see you don't want to take up too much room because we have a lot of other stuff that we're going to be adding to this page. We will write out those 3 tenets and we'll define mitosis and meiosis as it relates to those 3 tenets. So just prepare for that. You don't need to write any of that stuff now, but just simply title your page. So, since we've got the title, the 3 tenets of cells, let's kind of get in there and let's define what the 3 tenets of cells are. Alright, well, the first tenet of cells, or the first rule or thing that we talk about if you talk about cells, the first rule of thumb is that all living things are composed of 1 or more cells. So, if you think about like a flower or a human or a bunny or a grasshopper, those are all made out of more than 1 cell. But a bacteria would be an example of something that's made out of just 1 cell, and it's still considered to be a living thing. So all living things are made out of 1 or more cells. The second tenet is that the cell is the most basic unit of life. Yes, so like when you think about if you were to build life, the thing you need in order to construct would be cells. And so the simplest thing you can get when we talk about living or life creatures is 1 cell. And as it gets more complex, it's more cells. So the final tenet here, the third and final tenet, is that all new cells are made from cells that came before them, or we would call that pre-existing cells. So all new cells are made from pre-existing cells. That's pretty wild. So, if you were to, for example, get hurt and your body needed to repair itself and make some new cells, it would actually copy the cells that were already around. And as our hair grows, it copies the cells that were there before. And as our fingernails grow, the same thing happens. So that process of cells making copies of themselves is this process that we call mitosis. Now, mitosis is when a cell creates an exact copy of itself. So if I use this smiley face as an example, as my cell, what would happen is that the cell would actually start to make double of everything. It would start to form these 2 quasi cells, and it would start to then put the sets of things in each different parts of the cell. So here I've got my 2 sets of eyes. I've got eyes in the left side and in the right side, and then maybe the smile is forming, but it's still kind of connected. It hasn't quite separated from itself yet. And in that process, then the cell is going to eventually cleave this boundary, and we're going to end up with 2 exact copies of what we started with. So now we have more cells. So when your body does heal a cut, or when you are growing and healing, or any type of development in life, whether it's your dog or it's your cat or your salamander or yourself, your body or those organisms' bodies go through mitosis to make exact copies of the cells that they have in order for them to grow. Now, another way that new cells can be made from pre-existing cells is something that's like mitosis. It sounds like it, but it's very, very, very different. But it's still this process of cells, new cells coming from old cells. Not old, because they're not old in age, but pre-existing cells that were there before. So the process that also makes new cells is meiosis. So mitosis makes an exact copy of itself. Meiosis, though, takes a half of a cell of an organism, and another organism takes and makes a half of one of their cells. So you have these 2 half cells. So we say this one maybe comes from organism A, this one comes from organism B, and when we add them together, we make a whole new cell that we'll call C. So a half of one cell plus a half of another organism cell makes one whole new cell. So, that would be like maybe this smiley face is going to contribute 1 eye and half of the smile. And this smiley face is going to contribute one eye and half of their smile. And so when they come together, then you end up with a whole new organism or a whole new cell that looks kind of like each of the original cells, but not exactly like either one. Now the funny thing is that meiosis only happens in one area of our body, and it only happens in one type of cell in each male and female. And that's what creates the sperm and the egg. And so meiosis, this is how, if you ever wondered, babies are made. Whoa, so that means like whether it's a new baby giraffe or a new baby human, in order for those babies to be made, each of the parents had to go through meiosis, and meiosis created the cells needed to make a new cell. So there you have it. This is an overview of cells and the 3 tenets of cell theories, and I will see you in the next video note page. See ya!